All right, let's talk about January 2026. This isn't just another month on the calendar. According to the source material we're looking at today, this is it. This is the final month to really get ourselves prepared before a period of massive global transformation kicks off. It's like the last deep breath before the plunge. So let's get into what that means.
So, this is the big question, right? A year of incredibly rapid changes on the horizon. The real question is, are you ready for it? And look, the goal of this explainer is not to cause any alarm. It's actually the opposite. It's about giving you a clear way to think about preparation so you can navigate whatever comes next with a sense of confidence.
So at the heart of all this is a concept from traditional analysis called the fire horse year. What on earth is that? Well, think of it as a period defined by really intense, super fast-moving energy that just pushes for transformation. It's a powerful force that kind of burns away old, outdated ways of doing things to make room for the new. It represents this incredible challenge, but also an amazing opportunity to create something new. Okay, section 1. Let's get right into why this particular month is so crucial. January 2026 is being framed as the final countdown. Because after February 4th, we officially step into this new, high-intensity period. This really makes January our last solid chance to get our foundations in order before the pace just completely picks up. Think of this month as a preview, a trailer for the year ahead. We're already seeing that confrontational firehorse energy playing out on the world stage. Alliances between countries are shifting faster than ever, the global order is rebalancing, and systems we've relied on for decades are facing some serious challenges. This isn't some far-off theory. It's the pattern you can see emerging right now if you're paying attention. So, where can we actually see these huge shifts playing out in the real world? It helps to look at a specific example that really illustrates the bigger picture. The analysis we're looking at points to recent events in Venezuela as a key signal. Now, the point isn't to get bogged down in the details of one country. The idea is to use it as a case study, a perfect example of these larger global patterns that are now fully in motion. So what does a situation like this really signal to the rest of us? Well, first, it puts global energy security right at the front and center, showing just how fragile some of those supply chains really are. Second, it's putting long-standing alliances to the test, forcing countries to kind of show their cards. It also exposes just how tangled up all of our economies are. And maybe most importantly, we're seeing these old historical patterns of competing for resources repeat themselves, but this time, they're supercharged by modern tech and politics. Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does all this global stuff actually affect you, your life, your wallet? Let's pivot and bring it down to earth with a kind of financial weather report to break down the practical side of things. This is where the rubber meets the road. This slide draws a straight line from what's happening in the global economy to your personal game plan. So when you hear about shifting trade patterns on the news, your personal move is to have cash on hand for flexibility. When you see all this talk about inflation, the key for you is to reduce your personal debt. It's all about creating multiple streams of value, not just relying on one single paycheck. In this kind of environment, the old investment playbook, well, it kind of changes. This is probably not the time for super risky, high-leverage bets. The strategic priority really shifts from aggressively chasing growth to preserving the capital you already have. Staying liquid, which just means having cash you can get to, and keeping a long-term perspective, those are your best defenses against making panicked, emotional decisions. Financial stability is just one piece of the puzzle, though. I mean, it's a big piece, but it's not the whole thing. True preparedness is more holistic. So now, let's look at a broader framework for building your own personal resilience. And to really get where we are right now, just look at this timeline. 2025 was the preview, the introduction. But 2026, that's the firehorse year. That's forecast to be the period of peak intensity. Things really only start to settle down into a new normal in 2027. The key takeaway here is that we are heading directly into the heart of this whole transformative cycle. So how do you build that resilience? The source material breaks it down into these 4 pillars. First, have multiple skills so you can adapt. Second, financial health, which we've just talked about. Third, and this is so important, strong community connections. Seriously, nobody gets through major shifts alone. And finally, number 4, inner stability. This is your personal anchor in any storm. It's really easy to hear all of this and feel a little anxious. I get it. But the entire purpose of breaking this down is to help you replace that fear with a concrete plan. It's all about empowering you to choose preparation over panic. And this slide just illustrates that choice perfectly. You can go the fear-based route, which leads to anxiety and making bad reactive decisions. Or you can choose the preparation-based response. That's where you get informed awareness and proactive planning. Fear isolates you, preparation helps you build community. It's a huge shift from a negative outlook to one of what I'd call realistic optimism. This quote from the source material really just nails the core message. The world may be chaotic, but we don't have to be chaotic within ourselves. Global events, they are largely outside of our personal control. But our response, our own calm, our own stability, that is something we can control. And that inner resilience, that is our greatest asset. So let's end on this, a call to action. We've covered a lot, from global patterns all the way down to personal resilience. But information is only useful if it leads to action. So look at those 4 pillars again: your skills, your finances, your community, and your inner stability. What is one small, tangible step you can take this week to strengthen your foundation? That's where real preparation begins.